Right now, about 1 million species are vulnerable to extinction. And that's a huge number because there's only estimated to be roughly 9 million species on Earth. So we're looking at more than 1 in 10 species on Earth is potentially going to go extinct eventually if we continue what we're doing right now. The biggest driver of biodiversity loss isn't climate change, which might be a bit of a surprise to some people. More important are changes in land and sea use and direct exploitation of species. So this is things like cutting down the rainforest, cutting down mangroves. If we think about how we're using land, there's a massive amount of Earth's land that is actually being used for production of cattle, for production of our food by and large, but also things like tree plantations. We need bookshelves and that type of thing. So a huge amount of Earth's land is actually being used in some way that's going to affect the biodiversity there. We can't expect to save everything, especially if we're going to continue with our way of life. But we can make changes that will allow more species to survive into the future. Trying to get away from this idea of constant consumption, because it's the constant consumption that is one of the biggest issues we have with biodiversity. That is putting a pressure on the natural world that is not sustainable. People really should care about biodiversity, and I think a lot of people do. I hope a lot of people do. Because biodiversity, it gives a lot to us as well. We can think about our food, our clean water, the clothes that we wear, the materials that our housing is built out of. It is our medicines. There's so many different things that we get from nature. We call them ecosystem services or nature's contributions to people. If we keep exploiting it, there's going to get to a point where these services are reduced, and it's going to hurt us. So we really need to care about biodiversity for the sake of biodiversity. But we also need to care about biodiversity for us.